Hello, y'all. Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday. It's nice to
Happy
meet
birthdays,
you.
Nice,
man.
nice to meet you too. I'm so excited to talk with you all about this incredible film. I think that I was surprised a bit by it because I thought it was going to be a sci-fi film mostly, but it has so much more. So much more is there. So, Riz, I wanted to start with you actually. What initially intrigued you about this project and made you want to become a part of it?
It was Michael Pearce. He's an amazing filmmaker. I'd seen his last film. It was called Beast. Blew my mind. So I wanted to know what he was doing next, and just started hunting him down. Really, I was literally calling him up, texting him, getting friends to text him, meeting him up for coffee, and saying, "I really want to do this." And that's also because it's just a really fresh story. It's got that action, sci-fi kind of vibe to it, as well as having, as you said, a lot of heart and warmth. And it's really a family story. Um, it's kind of about right now and the world we're in, and what it means to try and keep your family safe in an uncertain time.
It's like a sci-fi film, but it's also family drama, but it's also like a road trip film too. It's like so many elements mixed in. And Aditya, for you, what was it like working on this film? What was your favorite part about it? And also, what did you think about having Riz as your film dad?
So, my favorite part of the film is, um, well, there is a scene, but I don't want to spoil it. I don't want to spoil it, but there is an awesome scene where I had to run on black lava.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was awesome. I mean, like, it's like as big as it's like as tall as this room, and then I had to just run up the black lava, and then I thought of Riz as a very nice person. I mean, like when I first met him, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna love this guy. So that's my answer.
Thanks, bud.
Mhm.
And I know the scene that you're talking about too, and I feel like people are gonna love it because that is an awesome scene. That is a very awesome scene. And
There is another scene that I do love. But Riv here.
What about the candy scene, Aditya?
I was gonna say that. The candy scene where I'm just like, so there's a fruit roll up. I unwrap it, and I'm like, "Whoa," and then I ate the whole thing in one.
Yeah, you did.
I did, and then it's like 6 feet. Six foot roll up.
And Lucian-River, for you, what's something that you hope people take away from this film? Because there's a lot of deep themes about family and sticking together and looking out for one another. What do you hope that viewers take away from this film?
Oh wow, that's a really good question. Hmm. I think that I hope that viewers take away the family side of it, like you said, that no matter what your family does, you kind of always have to take care of them and
Protect them.
protect them. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah. Well, thank you three so much. I can't wait for everyone to see this movie, and congrats on the launch of this movie.
See ya.
Thanks so
Thank
much. It was
you.
really nice to meet
Cheers.
you.
Hi, Octavia. How are you?
Hi, how are you, Trey?
I'm good. It's been a while. I hope you've been staying safe and doing well as we continue in this holiday season. I'm so excited to chat with you about this movie today, which really surprised me a bit because I thought that the film was going to, it has a sci-fi element, but I thought it was going to be a little bit more, but it has so much more to say. It's a family drama. It's a road trip film. It has like so much more going on. So I wanted to ask, what initially intrigued you the most about being a part of Encounter?
I loved that Riz was attached, and then after I read it, I first of all I love that it's a psychological thriller. I love the sci-fi elements. I love the dramatic elements because you know in our life. Everything that we do, your life, one day in your life could be a comedy, a drama, something sci-fi because of all the technology that we deal with. So it's kind of like a slice of life in that way for me. I love that it has all of that going on, but the director so deftly just wove this beautiful story. And at the end of it, I realized that we all of our experiences, we come to life with certain experiences, and sometimes when we experience things, we experience the same thing. We have different perspectives of what they were, or what that experience was. This impacted me because I realized that seeing things through Malik's eyes, from his perspective, made me know that that's how we have to conduct ourselves in society. If we walk in another man's shoes, we see things through their eyes. It allows us to be more empathetic, and hopefully more compassionate. I just said a lot of stuff.
I liked what you said though about the how the film handles different tones, because that's how our lives are. I mean, sometimes we're happy, sometimes we're sad, sometimes we're laughing. There are peaks and valleys. It's not just always like one level,
right?
And especially like with your character, especially, how did you even relate? I feel like there was a lot to relate to, because you're the one who's trying to like stop things and like, or like at least bring them down. And I think that's a lot of what's needed now, the empathy that's kind of needed in society. So I think that kind of speaks to what the time we're in now. What do you think?
I definitely think that Hattie, I feel like my character feels like more of a metaphor, in that she is actively investigating, actively trying to figure out where he is, trying to take his kids, but what's going on with him. And in doing that, she's showing that she cares about him. She is like the light in all of the darkness that's surrounding him in his life. And I think if more people who are going through something had that type of person in their lives, or people in their lives who could shine that light, we wouldn't be in such dire straits as we are right now as a country. So I love that Hattie is sort of the vehicle for that.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. But thank you so much for your time. I enjoyed chatting with you, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
You too, and have a great holiday season.
Thank you. Michael, how are you doing today?
Yeah, good. That's a really epic background you have.
Everyone always thinks it looks real, because you don't really see the white lines here. It looks like I'm in this like in this house.
Huge apartment or something.
Yes. I'm so excited to chat with you about Encounter. I really enjoyed the film. And I wanted to ask, because the film kind of surprised me a little bit, because I thought that the sci-fi element was going to be played up a lot more, which it is, but it has so much more to say outside of everything that Malik is going through. So I want to know what initially intrigued you about the film, because I do know you you boarded the project a little bit after the script had been around. So what intrigued you about the project and wanted to direct it and be a part of it?
For me, it was the relationship between this father and his two sons, and how that evolves throughout the film. And there was something just really, like poignant and kind of universal about that kind of loss of innocence moment that you go through when you're a kid, and you discover that your parent isn't all-knowing and all-powerful. They're in fact a human being, and that means that they're flawed and they make mistakes, and sometimes they need the help of their children to get through a crisis. And I just found I went through something similar when I was the same age as Jay in the film, and that just felt kind of personal. There was some personal resonance, and it also felt very universal when I was telling the story to friends of mine, that everyone had kind of gone through a similar situation as that. So that really intrigued me, and that the film was playing with different genres meant that I could tell quite a personal story, but on a very large canvas, and that just that's a rare alchemic mix. And I just thought the script was really smart. How, as you say, it starts in sci-fi, and then it expands and evolves and kind of deepens as it goes on. It becomes a kind of richer film as you move forward. And I just hadn't read anything that had that level of ambition before.
Yeah, it's so much, because it has the sci-fi element, but then it's also family drama, but then it's also like road trip film. It's so many pieces to it, and I think that adds to the the complexity of it as well.
Yeah.
And I want to also ask, putting together the film, like in the middle of, we're in the pandemic right now, still in the pandemic and releasing it right now. How do you think that impacted the way that you see the film? Even in retrospect now that it's being released, how do you think the pandemic, in having this film that also has like this looming presence about it, how does that feel as like a director?
I mean, I'd hate to say, because it was hard to make, and so many people have suffered from the pandemic. But there might have been some strange net positive that the film received, because of course, it was so many themes became very resonant as we were making the film. The film features an invisible virus that's infecting the population, and the world is on, the encroaching on the precipice of an apocalypse. And that's kind of how it felt when we shot the film October and November in the States last year. Of course, lots of people were becoming infected. We were all wearing PPE clothing and biohazard suits. So behind the lens, it almost looked like a sci-fi film as much as it did in front of the camera. There was civil unrest. It was Trump's election. The country was very divided. We had like record heat waves. There was forest fires. The sky turned orange. It just felt like we were on the precipice of an apocalypse. It was just one of those uncanny things that a script was written 10 years ago, and you make it 10 years later, and it more closely reflects the world than you could have ever anticipated. And we talked a bit about whether we should make the film more about COVID, and in the end, we decided that we didn't need to be heavy-handed about that, and we didn't want to date the film very specifically. We felt we wanted it to be more universal, and an audience is smart. They can read into some of the echoes that we laid into the film without us having to be on the nose about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I felt that, even though it's not, reference, you still feel like that connection, like, wow, this really resonates to this period of time we're in right now. But thank you so much. I really enjoyed chatting with you, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and congrats on this film.
Great. Thanks a lot, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a good one.